What would happen if you cross a black hole? Will you go back to the past through time and space? According to general relativity, time and space can be bent. The greater the mass of the object, the greater the degree of bending. For example, the gravitational field of the sun can be in space and time, form a curved depression. Planets in the solar system, it will rotate around its edge. Black hole depression. It looks like a long funnel. Any object is close to, it will fall into this funnel. So, does a black hole just enter but not exit? According to Hawking's related research and theory, when a black hole is born, we'll quickly pass the attack, gather the surrounding matter. Then, at the other end of the black hole, we'll pass the Hawking evaporates method, radiating particles outward. That's to say, black holes will die. It's just a matter of time. So is it possible for a black hole become a time machine, traveling through time and space? Based on current theory, any matter enters a black hole. It may be pulled into particles. If you want to travel through a black hole, before you are pulled into particles, you'll see the space around you twisted. After that, you will be pulled into a very thin line. In Einstein-Rosen-Bridges theory, two black holes are connected by a tunnel. Simply put, it is a wormhole. The wormhole may be connected. They are two very long-distance black holes. If the distortion of time and space in the wormhole reaches a certain level, traveling through time may not be possible. We don't know. What is the other end of the black hole? It may also be the parallel universe we imagine. If humans can be in the future, explore the secrets of black holes, then reveal the ultimate secret of the universe. Maybe it's not far from us.